And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the USJ Sports Show, coming to you live from Brooksy's Barn via Worthy Road Studios. And we're glad to have you with us tonight. I'm Steve Beverly, hosting this week's show. And you've got right here, fresh off a victory last Friday night, we've got Coach Michael Stroop and we've got Coach Jim Hardigree with us here tonight. And it's so good to have you both here. And congratulations on a tremendous win this past Friday night.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Michael, let's talk about this first. When you open up with a victory like this where you really just, if you will, thrash the competition, you get an opportunity to see a lot of players. A lot of guys get to get into the game. What's that like for a coach to have an opportunity to give some game experience to so many people this early in the season?
Well, it's great. They get a lot of practice time, but, they don't get a lot of game reps. And so in a game like we had Friday night, you can get a lot of the freshmen and the sophomores in there and get them some reps and see how they attack and see if they play hard. And we got a good glimpse of that Friday night.
40-0 victory over Liberty. And Jim, as you look in your particular vantage point, what did you see from the areas that you coached that really were strengths that really made a big difference?
Well, I thought we played overall team-wise. I thought we played very hard. We were aggressive and executed pretty well, capitalized on mistakes. I just do special teams. So
you're still enjoying this, though.
We got the opportunity to kick a few extra points and a few kickoffs.
Yeah.
That was good for those guys to get the game experience doing that. And we're kind of young at the kicking position, so that was a good game for them to get out there and have that many opportunities.
Coach Stroop, you had one of your players that had what I guess you would call a triple crown, and if he had one other different way to score, it would have been full. Right. It would have been a grand slam on that. Yeah. Tell us about Jace. He just had a tremendous night on both sides of the ball and on special teams.
Yeah, Jace is coming to his own in the past couple of years, and he's a really good football player on both sides of the ball for us, inside slot receiver and at corner, and phenomenal in the special teams area as well, and being a kick and punt returner. So he does it all for us, and we depend a lot on Jace, and he's even a better person off the field.
Well, we've got some highlights of this past Friday night's game, and so at this stage of the game, we'll go to it and let these two coaches tell you what happened as it happened as they defeated Liberty this past Friday night. So, Paul, if you will, roll that tape.
This is the first interception returned by.
That pass is picked off there. That's number one, Will Horton on the interception.
Had a good play right there, and then he takes it. I think it was 80 yards back for a touchdown.
He's got company going down the field.
Yeah, we preach pursuit, man. We preach pursuit. We don't really preach that, but we had a good conversation about how we act a little bit in zone. So, but they're having a good time.
And I'm going to give us a replay on this and just show it to you in slow motion once again. Tell us how this play unfolded.
Well, they tried to throw a post route, and Will was able to undercut it and then take it back to the house. Had good pursuit, had good blocking out in front. You can see the caravan of guys right there with him. So, great play by the defense overall.
And that had to be a huge emotional lift. You're 2.5 minutes into the game, and here you go. You got a big play like that.
Yeah, defense sets the tone.
All right, now here you are on really about the 2-yard line.
Yeah. We've got that's Berkeley to Davis Sane, a new kid on the team. He comes in from Nashville, but we want to take advantage of his height and inside the red zone. And we came to this play earlier and we didn't connect, and Berkeley decided to come back to it again, and so we connected there.
So again, you're up 2 scores at this stage of the game. as a coach, do you feel it when you see your team get off to that kind of a start?
Great. It's great. Here's special teams. I'll let Coach Hardigree talk about this.
All right, Jim, tell us about this one.
Well, we felt like going in that we would have a decent chance of getting to the ball. I think we did one time, but at the same time, when you rush the punter, it holds back some people covering. So therefore, he made a catch and made a great run, which I don't think that's going to be the last time you see that happen this year. He's a special athlete when the ball is in his hands.
That's going to be a 53-yard return with this one.
Good block right there. Kind of got a seam. He pretty much outruns him, cuts it back, and he's in. Jace is going to be a really good one for us this year.
Well, if the first game was any indication, he is going to be a standout this season. All right, set up this play for us, Michael.
Oh, let's see. I got to find out what we're doing.
You're at about the 24.
Yep. So we called the play intentionally to throw it to our running back right there, but the linebackers vacated. Both of them actually went after Kevin right here on this play, and the quarter and Berkeley noticed it, and so the other option is to hit it to the middle of the field right there if they do that, and he made the right read, and there you go.
Easily beating the defenders into the end zone, and at this stage of the game, you're up 28-0.
Yeah, here's Jace on the pick right there. Yeah. This was a wobbler ball. It's like a helicopter ball out there. I didn't notice it until I saw a replay on it. But that ball kind of helicopters out there, and it gives him opportunity. We're playing cover 2 out there, and he sees the out, he breaks on it, and so another great play by Jace.
And so you got a big lead at this point. It's 34-0. And here you go, threatening once again at about the 18.
Yeah, we come back to Davis right here. Again, we want to take advantage of him in the end zone, and so we give him a ball he can catch out there, and then that's a big threat. We didn't have that last year with the size out there. We had 2 good receivers out there, but we didn't have the height out there. So we have that this year, and we're going to take advantage of it.
And here he goes once again, going in slow motion. Perfectly timed there in the corner of the end zone. And, of course, 40-0, and you see all those scoring plays. Bring it back to me again. I know these players, they have played in camp, and they've been hitting each other, and now they want to hit somebody else when they get to this stage of the ball game. In particular, when you look at a team that you're taking on like Liberty, and then you just have that momentum that goes throughout the contest, particularly, it's got to feed on each other as far as the emotions on the team.
No, it does. And, you go into a game and you're playing a team like Liberty who's very athletic, and they're trying to get their program back to where it was. But at the same time, they're still athletic and they can break loose at any time. So, but it kind of gets away from us or from them, and then we get up, and then, like you started the show, you got opportunity to get other kids back in. And kids that normally wouldn't get in a game, and they get playing experience on Friday night out at Kirkland at Kirkland Stadium.
Now, Jim, when you are working in camp on them, and particularly with special teams, what are the things that you stress the most?
Organization, no mistakes, personnel being on the field when they're supposed to. We work. Basically what I call is the fundamentals of it first to start with, and making sure that happens, and then expand from there as far as, trick plays or different formations. We work on it all the time, but you may or may not see it in a game unless it's calls for it.
It's situational as much as anything.
It's definitely situational from the standpoint of the score, who we're playing, where the ball is on the field, etc. So we have a lot we can do on special teams besides the very base stuff that the fundamental stuff. And if we need it, we practice it at least each thing one time a week. So
let me, before we take our first break, Michael, tell us about as I want to pick up on what Jim was just talking about, that it is the kind of thing that you are looking at different situations, and as a head coach, and when you're putting them through their reps in the afternoon, how much time do you spend on that, say, with your first team offense or your defense, that, okay, we're in a situation here, we're up 14-0 or we're down 10-0. How much emphasis do you place on that, particularly in training camp?
We put them in times, and sometimes we get the clock going. We're a fast tempo offense, and so we like to get the ball snapped in a certain amount of seconds, and you can kind of got that internal clock as a coach of when that's going to happen. But we work on short yardage situations, goal line situations defensively. Offensively, we try to run as many plays as we can offensively in the amount of time that we're allotted on the practice schedule. You got about, come offense, off team offense, we probably have about 25 minutes to go. Well, I need to see about 60 to 75 plays on the film when we get it in there. But you talk about, getting it snapped fast as we can, executing, and getting the defense off on their heels a little bit. Yeah.
Well, we have moved through our first segment, and at this stage of the game right now, I'll tell you the honest truth that we have got a lot more to go, because we're here with you until 7:30 tonight. We'll be live from Brooksy's Barn, and I can tell you any future weeks, come on out here on a Wednesday night and join us. You may hear in the background there's a lot of enthusiasm. That's because people are eating well as much as they're enjoying being here for the USJ Sports Show. So we'll be back with more, and we'll be following along the way tonight, talking to players and coaches, and we'll also be talking about next Friday night's opponent. That comes your way next, right here on the USJ Sports Show.
Huge Southern Buffet at its finest, or choose our drive-through window service. Look over our beautiful lake and enjoy a great meal. Come on by. We are sure you will enjoy our friendly staff and great selection of food that we have, from pork, fish, beef, chicken, not to mention lots of veggies. We also have a fantastic salad bar and a selection of scrumptious desserts. Y'all come.
Good to be back with you here on the USJ Sports Show, coming to you live via Worthy Road Studios from Brooksy's Barn in Jackson. And Coach Stroop has one of his players with us now. Introduce him for us.
This is Berkeley Pettigrew. He's our senior starting quarterback.
Okay, well, we just saw some of you in action there, and in particular, you do so well with timed passing patterns. We saw one play that you lobbed it into the corner of the end zone just in using the height advantage that your receiver had. Tell us in particular, what made you originally want to be a quarterback? Because I know there are a lot of people who, they may be larger guys, they want to be a lineman. What made you want to be a quarterback?
I've always grown up playing the position, and I've always loved throwing the ball, so it was just a natural fit.
In the kind of offense that you're running right now, and I'm going to let your coach talk to you about some of these things as well, but in the kind of offense that you are running right now where it's fast tempo, how much do you really spend as far as working on that fast tempo and being able to get those plays off? You're looking at, say, as your coach was talking about in the previous segment, about 60 to 75 plays a game if you're really clicking.
I mean, we try to get the snap off quick. The quicker you run the play, the less time the defense has to get set up, so it's just advantageous to you.
Let's talk about you a little bit personally. Tell us a little bit about your family, your parents.
I'm a senior at USJ, of course. Originally lived in Martin, Tennessee. Moved in middle school, and then played football and baseball. That's about it.
So you were almost a natural-born athlete. Now, is that in your family as well? Are there others in your family that are athletes?
Not really.
Not right. Well,
not in college or anything.
Okay, so you made it on right up here on your own and got into this position. Let me ask you this as well. What do you enjoy off the field? Because everybody sees you in your position, and and you're the front man for the offense on this team, and you had a big victory 40-0. What do you enjoy doing off the field?
Same as any other kid, really, just hanging out with my friends, having a good time.
Any other sidebar hobbies that you might have?
Not really.
You just
with school and sports, it takes up a lot of your time.
It does. You're all football with this.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
us about him, what you saw in him that you knew he would be the guy that could lead your team.
I think, when he showed up as a freshman out there, and he, I basically just threw the ball, and he could spin it pretty well, and he was gonna. I knew, by the time he was going to be a junior, he was going to have the command. So, he's grown a lot over the past 2 years in the starting role. Probably grown more in the past 3 or 4 months. Because he had an injury coming into the last season, and he didn't have a whole lot of time to get a lot of reps, and kind of got thrown into the fire pretty quick. But this year he's coming out of his shell a little bit, and probably saying some things and doing some things that's a little bit out of his comfort zone. But that's what leaders do. Leaders make tough decisions, and he's got to lead a group of guys out there. And I tell him, I expect him to lead the way I lead, and sometimes that's telling the truth to some people.
Tell us about the injury that you had last year and what it took to rehab from that.
Okay, so during when COVID hit, I was. We didn't have school or practice, so I was out working out and throwing and stuff. And I was throwing baseball. And one day I was throwing, and the next day I woke up, my arm didn't feel good. I just kind of kept throwing through it and everything, and it didn't go away. So I finally went to the doctor, and I had some synovium fluid in my elbow. So first they tried with cortisone shots and stuff. It just didn't work, didn't go away. So eventually I had to have my elbow scoped, and they just cleaned out the synovium fluid and rehabbed, came back, and better than ever.
How painful was that?
It hurt some, but it was just more hurt not being able to be out there.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Stuck on the sideline.
But you don't want to be watching and be one that has the eyes on the sidelines where that's concerned, and I can understand that completely. What kind of goals do you have after high school? What do you want to do?
I haven't really thought about that yet. Go to college, get a degree, and we'll figure it out.
You hadn't decided what area you want to study?
I think I'll probably go to Ole Miss, and I think I want to either study pre-law or business.
Michael, tell us about this, and we're going to hold off until the end to talk about your opponent on Friday night. But how difficult is it for players like Berkeley to be able to wipe everything out of your mind that you just accomplished on Friday night and then get your mindset back on a completely different opponent that may be giving you totally different looks?
Oh, it's very difficult. It's hard. I stress to them all the time, God put eyes in the front of your head for a reason, and whether good or bad, you just don't look back, and you keep moving forward, and you're going to have new obstacles, and you're going to have new challenges. So, these kids, they work very hard to try to do that. We have a good group of kids that try to maintain and try to stay grounded, and I try to do that for them. I try not to put them on a pedestal and tell them how great they are and all that. I'll pat them on the rear end when they need to, but at the same time, we've got a job to do every week.
He didn't tell you how great you were after you won 40-0 Friday night, did he?
Good job, and on to the next week.
Good job. I knew that was probably what was going to come out of that.
Yes, sir.
In particular, when the game is over on Friday night, win or lose, what's your routine after it's over?
Either way, you have to celebrate or think about it that night, and you got to wipe it Saturday morning. After Friday night it's over, you got to focus on the next week, focus on the next opponent.
How hard is that to do when you're around people at school and they want to talk to you and give you all the kudos about what you did the previous week?
It's difficult, but you just got to stay disciplined and focus on the next week. Be thankful that they're thanking you congratulating you, but focus on the next week.
Sounds like you're very grounded and focused in what your routine needs to be every single week, because it's a long season. Even though it always seems like when we start in August, you get to November, it is just like that, and it's really fast moving once you get into that. Tell me what his leadership has meant to this team. I mean, you're only one game into the season, but just knowing him as you do, tell me what his leadership has meant, Michael.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that when he goes on the field, the kids trust him and they believe in him. And when they can do that with your quarterback, then you can do anything you want to offensively. So, you know, he is again, he's growing into the role. You know, he's not a natural outspoken person, but he's trying to, and he's. But, you know, when he's the type of guy, when he does speak up, everybody's going to listen. Everybody's going to stop what they're doing. So, you know, it's important to have a quarterback that knows how to lead, and he does.
If you're in a situation where the game's on the line, I want to be situational with you like this. Game's on the line, and let's say you got to drive 60 yards for potentially a winning or tying touchdown. How calm are you as the quarterback and the leader of this team?
I think I do a good job of staying pretty calm. I mean, I don't let my emotions get too high or too low. But it comes down to the situation. I want the ball in my hands.
That's something I think every coach wants to hear. You want the ball in your hands when the game's on the line. And that's got to be infectious to the rest of your teammates where that's concerned.
Yes, sir.
It's been great to meet you and to have you with us on the USJ Sports Show tonight. And we wish you a lot of good luck now that your focus is on Friday night in Union City. Wish you a lot of good luck with that. And you and all the rest of your teammates.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And that's Berkeley Pettigrew, and he is the quarterback of the USJ Bruins. And when we come back, we've got some more folks we're going to be visiting with. We got plenty of time. We're here till 7:30 tonight. And so if you want to come out and see us in person, come on out to Brooksy's Barn, because there's a lot of good food out here. You got all of our folks from Worthy Road Studios, and we would love to see you. So we'll be back with more of the USJ Sports Show right after this timeout.
Brooksy's Barn, locally owned and operated for 40 years in Jackson. Huge Southern buffet at its finest, or choose our drive-through window service. Look over our beautiful lake and enjoy a great meal. Come on by. We are sure you will enjoy our friendly staff and great selection of food that we have, from pork, fish, beef, chicken, not to mention lots of veggies. We also have a fantastic salad bar and a selection of scrumptious desserts. Y'all come.
Back live from Brooksy's Barn in Jackson, Tennessee with the USJ Sports Show. Coach Michael Stroop is with us this evening. And, Michael, would you please introduce our next guest?
This is Parker Barnes. He's a senior outside linebacker. He's been with us. He's been on the field since he's a freshman.
Now you're a senior this year?
Yes, sir.
Boy, 4 years at all of this. That has to be a huge challenge for you to be there as a freshman, and really having the kind of responsibility that you would at that time of your life and your career.
Yeah, it was interesting when I first started as a freshman. It was a lot at first, and then I kind of figured it out, and I got used to it more or less. But I think playing as a freshman a little bit kind of helped me out. Even now, I just think it made me better as a player, being able to play as a freshman even just a little bit, maybe just that much better.
Parker, I'm going to ask you some things about the job of linebacker for the people at home who may not know all the X's and O's and the insides and outs of everything. Yeah. As a linebacker, what mentally are you asked to do on the field? What's your role? What's your responsibility?
You really just have to be there and fill your gap and just do what you're supposed to, I guess. If you mess up in the middle, it can be really bad.
All right. Now, in particular, in looking at everything you do, when you get into, let's say you get into practice on any given day, what's your first assignment? What are the first things you do when you get into practice every day?
Well, I mean, really just making your reads, making sure you're getting the right key, and just getting game-like reps, I guess, being ready for Friday.
So you do everything situationally like you expect your opponent to do on that coming Friday night.
Yep.
Well, tell us a little bit about this. What is life like for Parker Barnes when he is not on the field? I asked Berkeley that. What do you like to do when you're not on the field?
I go to the gym a lot.
I can see that.
I go fish. I like to hunt.
Hey, squirrel season's coming up right now.
I'm planning on going Saturday.
Hey, but it's free, you know. I just did a story on that for Channel 39 today that it is free hunting day on Saturday.
Yeah.
So you got the squirrel season coming up. So you like doing that. What's your favorite kind of hunting that you do?
Honestly, I like to turkey hunt a lot. It's really fun just being able to be on the ground and stalk the animal. It's really fun for me.
And how about fishing? Where do you like to go to fish?
Anywhere big, like lakes or rivers. I like to go out there, just get open, get away from stuff, and just do your own thing, kind of.
You ever tried Thousand Acres Lake up at Carroll County?
I have. I've been up there multiple times.
Well, I went up there to cover the bass tournament that they had with the younger guys, and it was really a lot of fun to see how they do that.
Yeah.
Tell us about this guy, Michael. What does he bring to the table for you personally and on the field?
Well, he's a leader. He's tough. He's an ultimate defensive player. I wish he would spend a little bit more time on the offensive side, but we've had that discussion, and he just loves defense, and he'll help out on offense when needed, but he wants to tackle and scrape and defend passes, and he loves that, and that's. You got to have players like that. Extremely hard worker on the field, off the field, in the weight room. And again, he's one of those guys on defense that when he voices his concerns, to the rest of the players, they'll stop and listen to him. And that's what we look for, and for guys, because we're not out there with them. We're out there Monday through Thursday with them, but on Friday night they've got to keep it calm and collective out there, and they do a really good job. And he's one of them. Matter of fact, these two guys right here are two of the four captains that the team voted on. So he means a lot to our team, most definitely.
Huge honor to be a captain for this team, I'm sure.
Yes,
tell us a little bit about your family.
I've got two younger brothers. Names are Whit and Miller.
Younger, so both are younger, and about what age are they?
Whit is, I believe, 13, and I know it's horrible that I don't really know exactly how old they are, but I get it mixed up.
I know a lot of people. I used to teach at Union, and a lot of my students couldn't remember what ages their brothers and sisters were.
And then the smallest one's 11.
So 13 and 11. Now, are they athletes too?
Yes, they both play. The middle one plays – right now he plays football and baseball, and the youngest one plays football and baseball and basketball.
Now, do you do any other sports other than football?
Just football.
You're just focused on that completely.
Sir.
Has that always been the case as you were growing up, or did you try other things?
I played basketball and baseball when I was super little, but I kind of just stopped because, we didn't want to travel and stuff, and I kept getting put with, I guess, less talented kids, and it just got boring. So,
hey, it's like a coach I once knew that always said in basketball, says, work one-on-one with the best player out there, not with one that you can beat. Tell me about this. What is it, because your coach just mentioned this, what was it about defense that whetted your appetite as opposed to playing more on the offensive side of the ball?
I mean, personally, I just like to hit people. Personally, I like to, but
what's it like after you've gone through training camp and you've been hitting all of your teammates, and then suddenly you get to a point you want to hit somebody else?
Yeah, it's a lot different because a part of me, you almost hold back when it's your friends almost. So it's a big relief being able to hit somebody else that you don't know, because you can hit them just a little bit harder than you would probably your buddies.
You did quite a bit of that this past Friday night where that was concerned. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Berkeley. how difficult is it after you come off a huge win like you did on Friday night, 40-0, and then you have to go to Union City? How difficult is it to erase all that out of your mind from last Friday night and immediately start focusing on what's ahead?
I mean, you just have to understand that the team we played Friday was just nothing close to the team we're going to play this Friday. They weren't disciplined. They weren't as skilled as this team we're coming to play is going to be. You just have to realize that 40-0 really doesn't mean anything for us, to be honest with you. This team Friday is really going to show us what we've got, to be honest with you. And you just got to mentally prepare yourself. You can't let that win give yourself too big of an ego and too big of a head.
Last thing, Michael, let's put in perspective. Let's take Parker, and what kind of leader is he that you would say to teams down the road that you have 1 year, 2 year, 3 years down the road, the kind of example he is as a leader?
Well, he leads by actions. He's a leader in the locker room. He does a really good job with the younger kids that I've noticed. And so, you need those type of guys on the team. And a lot of times when younger guys get on the team and may not know, where to go, in the locker room, when they're in there and they're in there with a bunch of older guys, you got to have a guy in there that kind of shows and guides and leads in the way. But then again, defensively on the field, he does a really good job of getting us lined up. We get the calls in, and he echoes the calls. He gets everybody in where they're supposed to be lined up at, and then when something goes wrong, he's pretty quick to know who's done wrong, whether it be himself or somebody else.
Parker, last question before we let you go. What do you hope to do after graduation? What kind of goals do you have?
Just want to go to school.
Got any places in particular you'd like to think about going to school?
It's really up in the air right now for me, to be completely honest with you. Looking at Ole Miss, UT, places like that. I probably want to go SEC, but I'm not going to try to play football or anything. Just go to school, graduate, and
yeah, let's hope you graduate.
I hope I graduate.
But any ideas of what you think you may want to study?
Imagine like some type of engineer, maybe.
Yeah.
Just that's really about it.
Well,
really,
that's where leadership comes in too, particularly for people who are engineers. They have to be somebody who can take the reins of a project and do that very well. Well, we want to congratulate you on your first week victory and for your 4 years at USJ as part of this varsity team, and wish you great success the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Parker Barnes, who is another one of the leaders on this USJ team on the defensive side of the ball. And as we say, we're live right here from Brooksy's Barn in Jackson, Tennessee, and you still got time. You got about a half hour to come out and join us. We'd love to see you out here in person. If not, next week, come on out and be with us, because it's great fun to be here when you got a coach's show and you got all this activity and most of all the great food that's out here at Brooksy's Barn. We'll be back with more of the USJ Sports Show right after this.
Brooksy's Barn, locally owned and operated for 40 years in Jackson. Huge Southern buffet at its finest, or choose our drive-through window service. Look over our beautiful lake and enjoy a great meal. Come on by. We are sure you will enjoy our friendly staff and great selection of food that we have, from pork, fish, beef, chicken, not to mention lots of veggies. We also have a fantastic salad bar and a selection of scrumptious desserts. Y'all come.
Welcome back on Worthy Road Studios to Brooksy's Barn, live here in Jackson, Tennessee, the USJ Sports Show with Coach Michael Stroop And, Michael, you got another fellow right here from your staff. Tell us who you got here.
Yeah, this is Anthony Sawyer. He assists with our linebackers and our running backs.
Anthony, I just saw one of your guys, Parker, over here, and just to come right out with that, tell us what he means to this team.
I mean, Parker brings attitude. He brings leadership. You know, he's one of the captains. So he's just a great kid to be around.
Tell us about your career before you came to USJ. Tell us about your playing career first.
I played football at the University of Tennessee Martin. I played middle linebacker, and I played a little DN. From there, I did a little semi-pro in Memphis. And from there, I coached at Liberty High School. Mm-hmm. From Liberty, I went to Haywood High School, and now I'm at USJ.
We saw the highlights of that 40-0 victory. We saw mostly offensive highlights on that. We saw all the touchdowns. But to pitch a shutout in your opening game has to be an emotional high for you and your team. Tell us what you saw on your side of the ball that really made a difference this past week to be able to hold them without a touchdown.
Well, I've seen a lot of people doing what they were coached to do, breaking on the ball and being very aggressive.
Tell us about this guy, Michael. Obviously, he's got to be proud of what his defense did this past week, but tell us about him.
Well, he brings a lot of energy to the room and also kind of brings a little ease to the room as well. Does a really good job with the kids and does a really good job with, the linebackers there. And so, we've got a really good staff out there. We got Nick Stamper coaching the D-line. You got Cam Hollingsworth out there helping with the secondary. And then you got Mike Jones, who's the defensive coordinator out there. I'm blessed on the defensive side. Offensively, Bryce King on O-line, Alex Gary, who's a new hire for us. He helps both D-line and the offensive line. And I got Dylan Simmons, who coaches receivers, Drake Smith with quarterbacks. And then, you got the all-time great Jim Hardigree out there.
The dean of coaches.
Yeah, yeah. He's my assistant head coach and special teams coordinator. So, I'm blessed to have a lot of good coaches out there that have a lot of great experience. And, we got some young guys out there that contribute as well. So, very blessed.
Let me ask you this. What does it mean to work with young men, not just with their football skills, but trying to mold them into the kind of young men that you want them to be personally?
I mean, it really means a lot. I mean, the kids here, they're very family oriented, and they get along very well, and just to be a part of it is just great. As a matter of fact, it's a breath of fresh air with these guys.
And in particular, when you get them into training camp and and I know what that's like when they've been away from it for a good bit of the year, and then they come back. And do you have any of them that just felt like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it any further?
Well, I mean, that's all of them. And, Nick Stanford does a good job, but, I mean, he works them.
Oh, my goodness. And tell us about your family.
Well, I do have a son on the team, number 71, Kanye Sawyer.
Well, how about that?
Yes, and he's the baby, and I'm glad he's about to get out of here. He's a senior.
Now I've asked the other two guys, but has he expressed what he is interested in doing after graduation?
Yeah, he wants to go on and play.
Okay, where is he anywhere
he won't say anything.
Whoever he gets an offer.
Right.
Okay, I get that. And in particular, has he thought about what he may want to study in school while he's playing football?
Well, I mean, he said sports management.
Hey, we need them.
That's right.
Because when people retire, we got to have people to move into those roles.
Right.
And that is, I can remember back when I first started teaching college 30 years ago, that was not a major, and then it became one.
Right.
Toward the end of the late 90s, that became a major because there was such a need for that in so many areas of the country. And so that's huge. When you, and this is for both of you, all right, we've talked to all the players about wiping this off this 40-0 victory this past, and then start focusing on Union City on that. What do you do really when that game is over to tell them, okay, guys, it was a great victory, but now we got to look forward to what's ahead? What do you do to try to get their minds from trying to dwell on that?
Well, pretty much what Mike normally say is we celebrate this one, but when we come in on Sunday, this one is over. So basically, we pretty much a one game at a time type deal. So, I mean, you just got to set it and forget it. I mean, we got that, and then we go to the next game.
That's the way it goes and all like that.
Right.
Well, we want to thank you for everything you do with these young people, both personally as well as athletically.
Right.
And it means a lot to have people like you and all of the assistants that Mike has to be successful with this program, and wish you a lot of good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so we've had a couple of coaches, we have had a couple of players, and when we come back, Mike and I will wrap things up, and we will talk about what's up ahead on Friday night against Union City. So stay with us, everybody, right here on the USJ Sports Show.
Brooksy's Barn, locally owned and operated for 40 years in Jackson. Huge Southern buffet at its finest, or choose our drive-through window service. Look over our beautiful lake and enjoy a great meal. Come on by. We are sure you will enjoy our friendly staff and great selection of food that we have, from pork, fish, beef, chicken, not to mention lots of veggies. We also have a fantastic salad bar and a selection of scrumptious desserts. Y'all come.
Steve Beverly again with Coach Mike Stroop as we wind up the USJ Sports Show live on Worthy Road Studios from Brooksy's Barn right here in Jackson, Tennessee. And, Coach, let's get focused on Friday night. You got a team that had a huge 62-14 victory over Lake County. What do you know about this bunch from Union City and what you expect from them?
Well, I mean, what I do know about Union City is they got a lot of tradition up there, a lot of history, great football teams that have passed through that high school, and they've got another one this year. Very physical football team, very disciplined football team on both sides of the ball. They do run the triple option in the midline, belly. They do all that out of the flex bone. Defensively, they're a 4-2-5 and like to get after you. So, we're going to have our hands full this week with a very good, talented football team.
How difficult? We know what it's like at the college level because we've heard so many coaches talk about how they work a little bit if they know they've got a triple option opponent. You talk about Army or many of the other schools. Georgia Tech used to do that when they had Paul Johnson. But the difficulty in defensing triple option, how tough is that?
It's very difficult. 30 years ago, you would start every practice, every training session with option responsibilities, and everybody had dive, quarterback, pitch, and you'd go over those every summer. And then it just kind of went away for a while, and now but football's kind of like fashion. It kind of revolves, and it goes back to the roots. And I cut my teeth on the wishbone. My dad was a wishbone coach. I ran that wishbone. When I was at Delta State, we ran flexbone option, which is what Union City does. So I've been around it. I don't know if anybody knows how to stop it, but you've got to be able to contain it. Last week I think they ran for 8,000 yards against Lake County. It seemed like. I think the fullbacks they had to use two of them. Because they were just getting so tired back there running the football. So they're a really good football team, and we'll have our hands full.
when you talk about dealing with that kind of offense, and it is, I remember when, in particular, Nick Marshall was coaching. Now, technically, Gus Malzahn doesn't run what he would call triple option, but there are elements of it in his offense.
Yes, sir.
And he always talked about Nick Saban. I remember the year of the kick six. He said, you got to be very patient against his offense. How important and how tough is it to teach patience on defenders against that kind of offense?
Well, again, it can lull you to sleep. You know, they sit there and they give the dive, they give the dive, they give the dive, and all of a sudden the quarterback's got it. Or it could be the other way around. You know, the quarterback's got it, and then that guy that's tackling the dive decides, well, I'm just going to go tackle the quarterback because he's not giving the dive, and then there you go. That fullback's 40 yards downfield, and you ain't got a clue where he is. So, you've got to stay on your keys. You've got to play your responsibilities, and you can't do anything else. We practice this week. We've got a ball out there, but we practice without a ball sometimes with the option, and just having guys play their responsibility. It's you got to be disciplined, and you got a lot of reps. And so we had inside run this week, about 25 minutes inside run, then we'd go to team and basically just do the same thing over again. Because they probably got about 3 passes in their arsenal. So I mean,
that's true with most option teams,
right? So they lull you to sleep, and then they may throw one over the top. So again, you got to be disciplined in all areas. Defensive line, linebacker, secondary, they have to do their job.
That height that you have on your receiving core, that has to be, though, a big plus for you as you go into an opponent like this.
No, I think so, and those guys are getting better week by week. I don't know how much Davis had played receiver. As a matter of fact, I asked him, I think last week. I said, Davis, how long you played receiver? He said, well, just as long as I've been here, Coach. And I said, well, I need to take that into consideration sometimes. But we've got a guy on the opposite side in Haynes Carney who is he's a trackster, basketball player. He can go, and he didn't really get to do a whole lot the other night because the ones only got about 8 snaps. And then you add Jace Barksdale into that and Riley Seals, and then we've got a big receiving core.
The special teams has to be a big part against an opponent like Union City.
Yeah, special teams, field position is going to be big. I told somebody the other day, they called and asked me, they said, I think it was somebody from Union City they called, and they said, well, what have y'all been working on? I said, well, we've just been working on punt team, punt. Those special teams will win a lot of games, but they'll get you beat as well if you don't execute them correctly. So we spend as much time on special teams in any high school in America. I can promise you that.
Well, I got to tell you, Friday night, I know you hope there's going to be a big group of people headed from Jackson to Union City to enjoy this one, and it'll
be a good atmosphere.
Should be an excellent atmosphere across the board, and we want to wish you the very best of success and hope you come back with a big victory.
We hope we do too, Steve.
Mike Stroop, who has been with us, and he will be here every week for the USJ Sports Show. And it's been my pleasure to be with you this week, live from Brooksy's Barn, along with our ever-cool, ever-present producer and director, Paul Schultze. And we'll be back again next week at 6:30. That's when we start it right here. Come on out and join us and enjoy all the festivities and most of all the great food right here. So until we are with you again next week, be sure to make the trip up to Union City on Friday night as USJ takes on the Golden Tornadoes. And until then, this is Steve Beverly saying so long from the great hub city of West Tennessee.